Yeah. On to more lighter news.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Slam Dunk lineup that has just been released recently.
Ooh, goody.
And it's more or less the same as obviously Slam Dunk this year has been cancelled because of the ongoing global pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is that Slam Dunk has retained a fair few bands from last year.
Yeah. So from what I remember, they were going to postpone until September, but as we know, lockdown it is somewhat still in effect, especially for mass gatherings such as Slam Dunk. So it's not really the right time to be putting Slam Dunk back on. But as a result of that anyway, there was bands like Bury Tomorrow that were pulling out because they had something else on their schedule. So they reserved the May spot specifically.
Oh, are they not in the lineup next year?
No, they are in the lineup. But what I'm saying is they went when they tried to postpone to September. That's when they couldn't be part of Slam Dunk. So from what I'm seeing. Still keeping up with Sum 41 and Don Broco as the lineups, the headliners, which I think like both bands are. Well, what more can be said about Sum 41 for one? And Don Broco have grown on me quite a bit in the last few years. I just think they're very catchy. Not as catchy as Eskimo Callboy, but still pretty catchy.
We'll get onto that at some point for sure. Yeah, Don Broco, local lads of mine. They're originally from Bedford. Never quite gelled with me. I've got to be honest. I like their first album, Priorities, but after that, it was kind of not my cup of tea. Really, they were going to play at my local venue. Shout out to Bedford Esquires, who've treated me very well over the years with open mics. They were going to play at the reopening of Bedford Esquires back in November this year, but I can't foresee that happening, unfortunately, just because of social distancing regulation. But it's good that they always have callbacks to Bedford, so it's good that they've held a kind of firm ground to their roots. Over these years, despite how massive they are now,
Yeah, and even Slam Dunk is growing because, like you've got Billy Talent is in the lineup as well.
I love Billy Talent. Have
you listened to their new album yet?
Or has their new album actually come out? Because I've heard the singles.
Oh yeah, it's just a single.
I've heard the singles. The first single it had a very weird Pink Floyd kind of. It was kind of progressive rock,
I do like it. Yeah.
I mean, their last album, Afraid of Heights, was just pure garage rock sort of sounding, which I really liked. They've just got something about them that I love. They've got like a unique. The lead singer Ben. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
I thought his name was Billy Talent.
No, the guy who fronts it isn't actually called Billy Talent.
I know.
Bear with me a second. It's Ben something.
Ben Shapiro.
Benjamin Kowalowitz. Oh. Yeah, he's got a very unique voice, very hot, very interesting highs in his sound, which can be off-putting to a lot of people, and it was definitely a hurdle that I had to get over whilst listening to them. But I think they're just very the guitarist Ian Dessart is a fantastic guitar player.
I think one of my favorite songs by them, I think it's called. Well, how can I say I think it's called if it's one of my favorite songs? But Cure for the Enemy. Cure for the Enemy.
I think it's called this. Yeah. What was it called? Sorry.
Cure for the Enemy is one of my favorite songs by them.
Cure for the Enemy.
And that's when he goes like really high in that song. So that's why I wanted to point it out. But I don't think they've ever made a bad album. If I'm honest, Billy Talent. They're just
I don't either. I think people had some qualms about Billy Talent 3, but then again, it's got Rusted in the Rain on it, which is one of my favorite Billy Talent tunes.
Yeah.
Let's move on to who else is on there?
Real Big
Fish. Real Big Fish are always a great laugh.
Oh yeah, I love them.
We saw them at Download this year with our buddy Dan, who's massively into Real Big Fish and ska in general, and they're just one of those bands that allows you to have a great time when you're watching them, and certainly my mood was brightened by watching them, because on that day in the few days leading up to it, we were at that Download since the Wednesday, and the weather was just so appalling, and the conditions and the walking distance between campsite and arena were just all over the place.
Yeah,
they're another great band, and they just, if you like your ska punk, they are the quintessential ska punk band.
Hmm. And I don't think they've missed a beat since their early days. Like their latest album, "Life Sucks, So Let's Dance," has got some really catchy tunes on it still. So, and it's the ones
Yeah,
that
check out KB's download vlog from last year if you want to see our reaction to Real Big Fish.
yeah, all the best reactions in there. Then you got
Yeah.
While She Sleeps. I just saw.
Did we see them last year at Download, or was that
No.
Memphis May Fire? Because I always get those two mixed up.
It was
for
neither
some
of them,
reason.
wasn't it? It was Miss May I remember.
Miss May and that I get those three mixed up. Miss May I, Memphis May Fire, and While She Sleeps. I
Yeah.
don't know why I get because it's all similar kind of metalcore leaning music, and it's sort of free named bands.
Yeah.
So
I think I saw While She Sleeps when I was in Budapest last year. Thank you, Scurvy. I appreciate it.
is that when you saw Architects?
Yeah, so I saw Architects at Budapest Park. Possibly my favorite venue I've ever been to, Budapest Park. It's got a very good size. It's like I think it's up to like 10 or 12,000 you can fit in there, and then it's really easy to get to the bar. You know, €2 for a pint. What more could you ask for? And it's like the flooring isn't too. It's like wooden panels and things like that.
I'm well aware of Budapest prices. Budapest, I went there on my
Budapest.
cousin's stag do a few years ago. It's epic, you know.
It's amazing. It's like
Brilliant
I haven't
city.
been to that many cities, but I can imagine right now that it will be like one of the best cities I've been to.
So we have Ice Nine Kills.
Ice Nine Kills.
Do you know anything about them?
Yeah, like most of their music is mainly based on different horror movies and things like that, like Jason and all that kind of stuff. And I think each album will be based on a kind of a different theme of supernatural sort of stuff. But I know mainly about the Silver Screen album, Silver Scream, like Stabbing in the Dark, which I think is a Michael Myers song, I believe. It's a song based on Michael Myers. They've got a song called Merry Xmas, which is like a killer Santa Claus. It's about that, but it's as the lead singer, he's one of my favorites vocalists in metal right now, because he can just do. He's got insane cleans, and then he's just got this like kind of mountain lion-esque roar to his screams, which and you know he can do really good lows and things like that. So yeah,
I must admit I've yet to check out Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And
they're really, really good.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm stalling a bit because I accidentally closed down the tab that I was reading it off.
Don't worry, I've got the Slam Dunk tab open.
Oh, okay,
so I can continue.
Okay.
You know what we should have done, actually, just as a note for next week's podcast, is we should have had the Slam Dunk news last, because I was going to segue from this next band into the song choice that I've got for you for Listen to This segment, which is Wargasm.
Oh, yes.
Who are both playing at Slam Dunk and Download this year.
Hmm.
And they're a relatively new act. I'll get into them later, but have you heard much about them?
What are they called, sorry?
Wargasm.
Oh, Wargasm. Yeah, I saw the I saw their Download TV thing. And may I just say right now that in just as a little kind of off the cuff news, have you seen Reading that are doing a full 3-day virtual lineup? Like every band there is almost every band there is doing a virtual lineup, and Download only could do things from like 7 p.m. onwards with just the highlights and things like that.
I could be wrong, but I think they've already had their first day.
Have they? Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know,
isn't it?
But I've seen it. I've seen the lineup of Reading, and just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, like I just think it's important in that sort of thing. I could see Blood Youth are on there as well. I do like Blood Youth. Anyone in particular that you do like?
For Reading or Slam Dunk?
Slam Dunk.
Oh, Slam Dunk. I'm sorry. We're going back between festivals. It's hard. So who we got? Basement. I absolutely love Basement.
Yeah,
they're one of my favorite UK bands at the moment, like new UK bands. I say new. I mean, they've been around for quite a while, at least a decade, I would say. But they are a phenomenal band. If you like that Teenage Wrist tune that I played you last week, you'll love Basement.
Yeah,
they've got a very sort of ambient alternative rock quality, very 90s sounding.
Hmm.
Who else we got? D's Nuts. Have you heard of D's Nuts?
Have you heard of these nuts?
Yeah, they are a real band. They're an Australian rapcore act. So basically, kind of Limp Bizkit, but more hardcore, I guess.
Hmm.
They're okay. I got introduced to them a few years ago when I was in Bedford. Code Orange. Now I've yet to check out.
Yes, Code Orange. Sorry, I'm just having an orgasm.
Now I've yet to check out
wargasm.
very much about Code Orange. What are your thoughts on Code Orange, Kevin?
I didn't listen to them much before their latest album, but I am really inclined now to listen to more of their stuff, because I think Underneath is one of the highlights of this year from any album. Just from starting off from Swallowing the Rabbit Hole, and what I love from them is how they make a lot of their sounds quite glitchy in the guitars, like especially in Swallowing the Rabbit Hole, where it's just like it does this whole sort of, I think, just a pre-chorus, and then it goes, it just stops for a second and then just skips like a few seconds onwards, and that's totally intentional, but I thought it's weird, but I like it.
I know they've done an unplugged set where they did a few Alice in Chains songs, so that immediately they've won me over, because Alice in Chains is one of the greatest bands of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Code Orange, industrial metalcore, is that a good way to describe their sound?
I think that's pretty fair. There a lot of industrial influences in there. Maybe not full on like Fear Factory or something like that.
I love Fear Factory, so if they're anything like Fear Factory, I'm sold. But
like Fear Factory, as you know, they're a band that just never take their foot off the pedal. But
it's a real shame what's happening to them at the moment, because they I don't think they can tour or release any new music until they can get the rights over the name sorted out.
Yeah, I know.
Which is really sad, because I would love to see Fear Factory live. Yeah. One of my favourite metal bands.
Yeah, I've got. For the record, I managed to get the poster back up. It's the page just like glitched out on me all of a sudden. Like the poster was showing in the background, but.
Oh, okay, right. So let's just whiz through a few more, and then we'll go on to the big football news that's currently happening at the moment.
Yeah.
So Knuckle Puck is another band I absolutely adore at the moment. I only really got into them earlier this year, but again, sort of very 90s punk sound with like an ambient atmospheric quality. I'm a sucker for shoegaze, or emo gaze, as we coined Teenage Wrist last week, and they very much kind of fall into that category. Maybe a bit more pop punk, but again, there's Zebrahead, who we did see at Download last year.
Yes, that's all I say. I just think
I just have a vision of you sing from the vlog of you singing "Everything's Falling Apart."
Everything's falling apart. Yeah. Yeah, I think their latest album was pretty good as well. I think was it Aliens Taking Over? I can't remember the name of the album, but they've got so much in their catalogue. So I don't think you'll ever get bored of Zebrahead. Out of all the punk rock bands that are out there, I think I can call them punk rock. They've got a kind of rap. Again, they've got a kind of rapcore thing about them. Definitely.
As well, they've got kind of rappy vocals over pop punk. But yeah, just rush through all of these. Stray from the Path. Yeah.
Not my fit. Nah, I don't like.
Not your cup of tea. Vukovi, The Fame, Blood Youth, Popes of Chili Town, another great ska band. Dream State, I quite like Dream State.
They're okay.
I wasn't a fan of their last album, but the EPs that they did before were glorious. Again, very atmospheric kind of. As you'll probably learn as we go into more and more episodes of this podcast, I'm a sucker for atmospheric kind of metal / rock. You know.
Yeah, me too. I think it depends what mood I'm in, really. Like I could either listen to some intense, like at the moment, Bury Tomorrow, or I could just sit back and listen to Tool.
Very nice. There's lots of pop punk bands. 4 Year Strong, Story So Far,
Dance Gavin Dance, which is more
Dance Gavin Dance,
post-hardcore sort of stuff. But
Chunk No, Captain Chunk, Me First and the Gimme Get. All these bands. Since being in I guess you could call it a pop punk band. I mean, a Green Day tribute band with, the other guys in my band all love this kind of style of music, and they go to Slam Dunk almost every year. I mean, beforehand, I probably wouldn't have given Slam Dunk much of a thought because I had a stigma attached to pop punk. Not that sort of stigma, by the way, before you go there. But it was just always the same bands that were being played on Kerrang over and over again, like Yumi at Six and what's the other one? All Time Low, and all these bands that really put me off pop punk. You know,
I don't mind Yumi at Six. Like, they're not something I'd first think about listening to. Yumi at Six, but All Time Low, no, just get them away from me.
Get in the bin. All Time Low. I'm sorry.
They were like the teenage girl's dream.
Not my thing. Just that kind of very kiddie, cheesy side of pop punk, which I just can't stand. My sort of pop punk falls under the kind of emo category, I guess. So, 4 Year Strong. 4 Year Strong's album, by the way, this year, that is definitely up there as one of my albums of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard it yet. It's called Brain Pain, I think it's called.
No, I'm not sure. I saw one called Normandy on you, and I thought that was North Lane, so I'm immensely disappointed by that. I would love to see North Lane live. But yeah, that's me with it. I mean, I'm surprised Mayday Parade still exists. And besides from that, yeah. The Used, I wonder how much hate they're going to get, because I remember they were one of the first to pull out, weren't they? And people really did not like them after that.
The Used,
yeah. Do you see them next?
I don't know. I've got to be honest. I really don't know that much about The Used. In fact, it probably shows my age when the only thing I really know about The Used is that their lead singer, Burt McCracken is his name, used to go out with Kelly Osbourne from the Osbournes.
Yeah.
And I think he was in a few episodes of the Osbournes.
Was he?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I love binge watching the Osbournes. It's just Ozzy is such a character. But yeah, the Used, I don't know. Do they fall into the kind of my camp of like emo?
I'd say so. Like more, like My Chem, I think, are a bit more technical, but the Used are a bit more. Well, I wouldn't say catchy, because My Chemical Romance are like probably the catchiest you can find out of like that sort of area of music. You know, you only have to play the first 3 piano notes, or the first 4 piano notes from Black Parade, and people instantly know what that is, and they'll sing along.
That's a meme, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
or a video on TikTok, someone just goes da 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 ah. We have Scurvy in the chat saying, if you can make a suggestion for some good screams, Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail.
Yeah, I
have heard Slaughter to Prevail. He literally sounds like Satan when he screams. It's not even an exaggeration. He sounds like he's conjuring up the screams. His diaphragm is somehow in Lucifer's throne room when he screams. It's a ridiculous. He's a ridiculous vocalist. But yeah, in general, deathcore, not really my cup of tea, if I'm being honest. You quite like deathcore though, don't you, Kieran?
It depends what deathcore. Like I'm on a bit of the cusp with like bands like Chelsea Grin. Like, they've got some catchy tunes, but I think when it's just the chugging riffs and it's a lot of it, then I'm like, meh. But if it's something like Thy Art Is Murder or Fit for an Autopsy, then I'm like, like, what else have I listened to? I think Lorna Shore, their album that came out this year, was very good, and that's more deathcore with an influence of black metal, which, like, that's to you, that's like, oh, help me now. I can imagine.
No, I don't. I can't really listen to death. I can go heavy metalcore, but that's about as heavy as it gets for me.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean,
like Wage War or something like that.
Yeah.
That's about as heavy as it gets for me, I would say.
Another deathcore band that, you know, I've listened to, but I don't think many people talk about, is one called Boris the Blade. They're good. But then you've got like the death metal bands.
Is that a Snatch reference, just out of interest?
I don't know.
Have you seen the film Snatch?
No.
Guy Ritchie?
No, I haven't.
There's a character in it called Boris the Blade.
We are both a man of culture as well, with a Total Biscuit emoji.
Yeah, thanks, Scurvy. Yeah, apparently we're men of culture. I think your opinion will soon change, Scurvy, as this podcast goes on.
Be right back. Just listening to Pink.
We'll take that for now, so thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let's just wrap this up. So Slam Dunk, whole host of great bands playing.
Yeah.
Metal bands, pop punk bands, alternative bands, ska bands, a lot. Going to take place on the 30th of May 2021.
So no rain.
Fingers crossed.
No rain.
Yeah, no rain, no social distancing, please.